If y'all will give me your attention, it's 9 o'clock. We'll call a meeting to order this morning. Devotion this morning is by District 2. Go ahead, Mr. Morris.
Thomas. Good morning, everyone. My devotion speaker this morning is from Amazing Grace Missionary Baptist Church from Moss Point. It's Dr. James Holloway. Come up.
First of all, I'd like to thank each and every one of y'all for having me here. I had to do a quick change of view. I was at work for Chevron, sold off these clothes, also pastoring in Moss Point. But what I want to briefly just mention is Romans 12:12. It says, but joyful in hope, patient in affliction, and also faithful in prayer. Even though sometimes we look at our current situation, the situation of our cities, look at the current situation of our young men, our young adults in the Pass Point area, sometimes we can lose a little faith. You know, we look around us, we see people that's pretty much established, people pretty much established their ways of work, and we still dealing with a young society that's still trying to find themselves. And sometimes when we look at the current situation, we say, well, look, there's no hope for Morris Point, there's no hope for Pascagoula. But I want you to know the hope is lying in this room. There's still hope in our community. There's still happy days to come. There's still economic developments that can be done in each one of these places. And so my devotion is very simple. In our current situation, even though we may have crises in our cities, I know a lot of us probably feel uncomfortable in some of our areas, but yet still we have hope. And most of these young men and young women that we're trying to mentor comes from some of our homes. And so looking at that situation and stepping up as parents and being the leaders that we should be in our communities, we can't put it all on the board. Now, I respect y'all guys, I really do. But this is going to take a community and team effort from the whole city of Pascagoula as well as Morris Point. And being a pastor in that area, I have also seen the young people trying to find their purpose in life. You know, and like I said, as we look around this room, we don't see many young people in here. And that's the future of our cities, that's the future of our communities, and that's our target. And so to the board, it just continue to doing what you're doing, but understand that despite the despairs that we see in our community, better days are coming. There's hope. We still have good economic resources, Chevron, we have good economic resources, Ingalls, and other places, even though some of the jobs in Morris Point we may have lost, like Dicor and some of the paper mills, even though that was a while back, but it damaged that economy. And so what I want to focus on more is just, let's revise some of these areas, bring the land value up a little bit in some areas, and get some of our young people to be more active. And that's my devotional for y'all guys. I didn't know really how to come in and do it. I don't want to preach a sermon, so I just wanted to be bring more light to some things in our community. And so we can't depend on the board to do everything. They're going to take a team collection, and they're going to take collection from each and every one of us. And so if we really want to see some positive changes in our communities, Morris Point, Pascagoula, if we want to get our names off the news and etc., we got to step up as parents. I think one of the biggest failures as parents we always wanted our kids to have better than us. And we made times real soft for them. And so because times were real soft for them, they really don't value what we see going on now. And so now we got to reestablish that and recultivate a society that believes in hard work, believe in dedication, believe in your word commitment. I'm going to say this and I'm going to sit down. When I bought my first vehicle, that was a while back, I didn't have to sign papers. Me and the guy just verbally. Back then, a personal word meant everything. Now, a personal word is not that valuable. And so now you have to have papers and stacks of papers with signatures on it. And we have to reestablish ourselves as with integrity, character, and show society that we can make changes in our community. It all lies in this room, and we can actually do it. And so I thank y'all for giving me this opportunity, giving me this platform. I thank y'all guys. I'm going to have to do another Superman run in the phone booth and put Chevron clothes back on and go back to work. But I thank y'all for this opportunity, and thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. We appreciate it. Pledge, please.
Pledge
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That brings us down to amendments to the agenda. And I have one, I just want to have a discussion on item 11E before we vote on it. Mr. Morris,
No, I don't have any.
Mr. Taylor,
I have none.
Mr. Ross,
None.
Mr. Beausarge.
Yeah, I'm gonna discuss a issue with Great River Utility in my supervisor items.
Okay. Mr. Eldridge,
None.
Mr. Fulton.
No, sir.
Okay. Mr. O'Neill. No. Thank you, sir. Mr. Calmer.
No, sir. None.
Is there any others? Anyone else? Go ahead.
I've got two, actually. They're both there under the consent agenda under HR. One of them is a resolution for employee donation of personal or sick leave. It's already in your packet. And the other is a amendment on the employee information. I've given you each the new employee information packet
Okay.
as well.
Okay. That it?
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. Are there any others?
I was here last week on this, or last month on.
We haven't got to that
My
yet.
hearing's bad, I'm sorry.
That's all right. Mine's the same way. I understand. All right. Could I get an order approving amendments to the agenda?
So moved.
Have a motion by Mr. Morris. I will second. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Brings us a notice to increase assessment of real and personal property. First one is Honeyk and Ingalls.
Can we get an explanation of that?
Nick,
Nick?
can you want to tell us what?
Just swapping property from one account to another as long as we
Okay. I make that motion.
Have a motion by Mr. Beausarge.
Second.
Second by Mr. Taylor. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And the second one is Ben Pacer Tire LLC in Ocean Springs. Okay. I'll make that motion.
Second.
Got a second by Mr. Ross. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Now that brings us down to general public comments. You can come on up now, sir. Come on. Just give us your name and address before, please.
Tommy Loper, 7617 Highway 613, Moss Point.
Okay.
Yeah, I was in here last month with, about dog hunting, and I brought some papers that I forgot last time, and I just wondered where we stood at it. Have we heard anything?
No, we have not. I have not.
Okay, well, who do I give these papers to?
Won't you give them the attorney and
Yeah,
let him look over them?
Thanks, sir.
What that is, what this is that all the states around us, their rules on dog hunting and the ruling that the Mississippi Supreme Court had on them. And, I appreciate it, but thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else for general public comments? Come on down. Just come to the microphone like he did and give us your name and address first.
Good morning. My name is Catherine Huckabee. I live at 5066 Bellwood Court, Morris Point. And first I want to thank you all for allowing me to come before you this morning. My comment is I rented the Orange Grove Community Center for January the 11th for a birthday party for my mom, a 90th birthday party. Well, the lady told me that it would hold 170 people. So therefore, I prepared for that. I catered food for 170 people, and we were looking to seat 170 people. But when we got there, I got the key that Friday, and one lady, the lady at the fairground, told me that we could get the key and go in and start setting things up. But Tiffany, who's over it, said, no, we couldn't do that. Well, I had already gotten the key. I got the key from Tiffany. I didn't ask her about it because the other lady told me I could. So, my problem is, when they went out there to try to set up and see what my decorator went out there were 8 tables short. The 8th table was broken. So we called, and I called Tiffany and asked if we could get 8 tables. She said, well, really no, because it was almost time for everybody to leave. But she did come through and get the 8 tables. In that process, she saw where they were setting the tables up, and she said, well, no, you can't set up because it costs you another $150. Well, they were setting up, so I went on to pay the other $150. But my problem came when there was only 122 chairs. She said that the fire department said that the capacity was 170. So I said, Tiffany, I've prepared for 170 people, and these are elderly people. They cannot stand up. So I need 48 more chairs, which she said, well, there's no way she could get them. So therefore, I had to rent 40 more chairs, which cost me another $100. And my problem is, if the building can only seat 122 people, why are you advertising that it can seat 170? Because that's an added expense, and if it was true that only 122 could be seated, that left me in a bind. But the building actually can hold and seat 170 people because we did it. We got more chairs, and the tables that they provided, we were able to do it. My complaint is, I didn't think it was fair for me to have to pay for extra seating when the building's supposedly been able to hold, and I should have been provided those extra 22 chairs.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I just wanted to bring that to you all's attention, that if they're gonna rent these buildings, they need to tell the people exactly how many chairs are gonna be provided, so, you know, the expense will be on us.
Sure, okay. All right,
Thank
we'll
you.
look into it and see what happened, but I
Okay.
appreciate you letting us
Thank
know.
you.
Thank
Ms.
you.
Huckabee.
I'll look into that, and if
Oh,
you
okay.
want to contact my office, Brian Fulton, County Administrator's Office,
Okay,
we'll look
I
into that and see
appreciate
if we can help you out with it.
Okay.
Brian, if we can give her a refund on the extra 150 that she paid, I don't have a problem with that.
Right.
I would appreciate you.
Yeah,
Thank you for your time.
thank you.
Anyone else for general public comments? Come on.
Eamon Mohegan, 1219 Monticello Boulevard. I've got a question about the municipal annexation of Ocean Springs. Right now, there is no current zoning designation on property that has been annexed from the county into the city. Now, my question is to this board is, if we purchase property now in the annexed area before there's an official zoning designation, is the county restrictions on the property are those the terms and conditions of which the property will be used for, or is it going to be an unknown future city designation if we purchase property as of now? Because while it's technically annexed into the city, there is no legal zoning designation from the city. So there it's the jurisdiction. The jurisdiction goes actually back to the county.
The jurisdiction is with the city, and so you'd have to ask that question to them. We don't have anything to do with the zoning within the newly incorporated area at this time.
Okay, because on the Jackson County web mapping, like, you know, when you're looking at property, it's still listed within there, like, you know, it's still listed within the county, and to make an informed purchase, you're questioning, well, if these are the county's restrictions, this is what the county says you can do with the land. You only hope, like, this is what the city will make a parallel or congruent change in the zoning. So I was just asking, like, what was, like, who had jurisdiction over, because it technically does not have a legal zoning from the city as of now.
That's an interesting question that I don't know if anyone up here knows the answer, but so when a city annexes, does the property just maintain the current zoning it has until they change it? Or is there a default zoning that occurs?
It appears to be that way, but Ocean Springs doesn't have a zoning. They just, there's a blank, for the zoning. So I think it legally is right now under county zoning.
I think that's how they're treating it, but I think it's under the city's jurisdiction.
But the city could go back and change those, yeah.
They will have a right to change it to match their plan or their templates.
So if I buy a property right now under the county's legal zoning jurisdiction and the city changes it and restricts the use of the property, how do I now assess or analyze this? I'm looking at closing on some deals in the annex area.
Someone who's like a planner
Yeah.
and understands the legal
And
ramifications of
Ocean
that.
Yeah,
Springs,
it's an
Yes.
ambiguous question about, about, putting like the price.
It takes a little while for them to get the web mapping up to date
Okay.
on even buying a piece of property. It takes 6 months or so to get that piece of property on the web mapping, so,
Okay.
so this kind of falls in the same place with the cities. Now, from what I've been told, they're gonna keep the existing zoning in place and run it through the city.
Yeah.
But they might come back later and tweak it, so.
For instance, there's a C2 piece of property in the county. It allows different things in the city. It explicitly prohibits those particular things. So I was wondering if I buy it under the county's jurisdiction, or do I just anticipate at this point future cities' jurisdiction?
I would anticipate the city.
I talked to the city.
Yeah, I wouldn't jump in and buy something
Yeah.
thinking it's gonna be one way.
Yeah, I figure, I know, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, thank you.
Brian, when do we update that mapping? Is it?
It gets updated, on a routine basis. It takes a while, like Randy said, to do that, but, with a lack of new zoning out there, it may just need to stay the way it is, in our system until they actually adopt a new zoning. Otherwise, it would just be blank, which, we can decide if we want it to be that way, but.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else before I jump? Okay.
Keith Broadway, 1908 Beachview Drive in Ocean Springs, out in the Gulf Park Estates. I really just got a question, and it concerns the Great River. When the Public Service Commission had their meeting in Jackson regarding Great River and all the different water systems they have out in Mississippi, I was in attendance of that meeting, and I talked to a lot of people there, met a lot of county supervisors from the various counties that Great River had purchased water systems, and talked to some of those supervisors. And I noticed one thing. This was the only county that did not have a representative there. And I'm just kind of wondering why.
Keith, I didn't know nothing about it. I never got any.
But if I knew,
apparently
John Doe civilian, if I knew.
Yeah. If I would have been there, had I known, I didn't know till that day, and I did call Jackson and I asked them to put me on the docket as making a verbal response to my displeasure with Great River since they purchased it. And that's something I'll be talking about today in Supervisor Adams. So, but had I known about it, I'd have been there.
Great River needs to be forced to sell.
That's my goal right now, yeah. I just ain't told them yet.
Because if the CEO was here, he would get a royal piece of my mind.
Yeah.
Thank you. Do you have something? Come on.
David Sheremy, 4125 West Terrier Drive, Moss Point, Mississippi. Recent event happened with the snow. We were without water, very low water pressure for 3.5 days. I made the phone call to Jackson County Utility Services. No response. If a fire broke out on my street, no water pressure to protect us. I asked the lady on the phone, are we going to receive a boil water notice? No response. I worked for the city of Moss Point for 25 years. I was over water, sewer, and gas. Anytime that you lose water pressure, a notification came out. 2 days later, we received a notification publicly at Moss Point. Well, Pascagoula had the first break first, they were on the ball water notice. Then, Mayor of Moss Point came out and said that Jackson County Utility Service, everything north, and Moss Point was on the ball water notice, that we'd be notified when we received service again. My question is, why was there a delay? This ain't the first time it's happened, that we lost pressure. Moss Point, now Jackson County Utilities. There should have been a notice more sooner than we did receive it. Where I live at, there's a bunch of elderly people. I'm almost there. But, you know, and a lot of people didn't know, the lady that lives down the street called me, what's going on? I said, what are you talking about? I have no water pressure. I said, well, I don't know, I haven't heard anything. So, and she is in very bad health. So my question is, will we get a quicker response if there is another, something like happened on the 22nd of January? So, you know.
To that,
Go ahead.
we actually had a meeting with JCUA last week, and it dealt with some of this. So that part of the system was recently taken over by the utility authority. For forever, it was the city of Moss Point. And so I think it's them getting more familiar with their system. I mean, when you buy a new system like that, you don't really know what you have until something like this happens, and you have to deal with all the issues that go along with it. So, and I can't speak to the notification process. Jackson County Utility Authority is a separate part. It's not part of the county government. They have their own board, and they make their own decisions. But I do know they were concerned about that, and they have some plans working with the Helena Utility District and others to try to remedy that problem, and so that they don't have the same situation going forward. And that's about all I know about it.
Oh, okay. Good.
I know the transition period because when I would work with the city, when I first hired in, and when I became a supervisor, they annexed. And I know about that part, trying to find where everything's at and who's all involved. And, but that was my main concern. There was no notification, should have been, you know, a little bit sooner than 2.5 days later. But I wanted to address that. I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Also, too, look on their website, on the Jackson County Utility Authority's website, and their meetings, they have a public comment section in their meetings. Their meetings are open to the public, so feel free to go to one of their meetings and voice your concerns just like you did today.
I think that'd
Thank
be
you, Brother
good.
Randy.
Yeah, and I just think it was just a communication because Moss Point changed over to JC, and they probably thought JC should have been putting that out. Then once Pascagoula put theirs out, Moss Point just went on and did theirs too. But like I said, it's a new system. They took over a new system up there. And like you say, they just know what they had till the storm came.
Yeah, it's like that. It's like Katrina, the 100-year storm, you know?
Yeah.
This was ours. And thank you, Brother Randy. Board, thank you.
Thank you. Come on up.
My name is Jimmy Zinnick, the address is 7500 Lake Ridge Drive. This is something that it's the coordination between the Chancery Clerk's office and the tax collector's office. Right now, the tax collector is going on to a new system, and with the new system, I see it being very efficient, but the old system, as a transition out of the Delta computers, it looks like the county will need to maintain paying Delta computers into that fee system. The reason being, you can check online, just like you can check the records online for the records to see who has not paid their taxes, like for the prior year. Right now, if you go into the tax collector's office and they will say, oh, we need something to show that you have paid the taxes from the prior year, the last 2 years. So there's some coordination between the two offices that do need to get together.
Okay.
I'll talk with Kevin about what's going on.
You know, but the Delta computers, what Jennifer had told me down there, she said, well, you can come up here and use the computer at any time to access the Delta computers. Maybe if you could just add to your system where the public could access the Delta computers from your side.
Yeah, I just gotta make sure Kevin's still getting the information into Delta where you get accurate access, you know, because he's putting everything into the new system. I gotta get it into the,
Well, when the property sells at the tax sale, the prior years, there is a problem, you know, in that coordination with the systems rolling over.
yeah. Well, maybe me, you and Jimmy, you and Kevin and Jennifer, we all can sit down and talk through it, because I thought we had it handled, but apparently we don't, so.
Well, what Jennifer said, well, I can come up there at any time and access the Delta computers, which I can see, but until this is, you know, maybe if you just add.
You got access, you just have to do it from here rather than from home like you used to.
Exactly. And it's the same, now we can access from home, like the land records, that type, if it could just be where you could access that from that site.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? All right, that brings us down to consent agenda. Could I get a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended? A motion by Mr. Taylor.
Second.
A second by Mr. Morris. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. All right, that brings us down to department heads. Ms. Wells?
Good morning. The first item I have is the order approving the claims docket.
So moved.
Have a motion by Mr. Ross. Second by Mr. Beausarge. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no.
Okay, and the last item I have is the resolution authorizing the interfund loans for fiscal year September 30th, 2025.
I'll move. Have a motion by Mr. Taylor.
Second.
A second by Mr. Morris. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Ketchum.
Good morning. The item I have are planning commission recommendations this past month.
I'll make that motion. Second by Mr. Ross.
Anything stand out on there, Marcus?
Coming in?
Anything stand out on there that we need to?
No, we've got a couple appeals, and I think you're aware of those, but.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Mr. Pooley, where's DJ? There he is. I thought I saw you come in.
Yeah. I'm going to help out with these. Just basically wanted to give the board kind of an update. A few meetings ago, we had Tyler Prorant with the Gulf Coast Skate Parks Association come and gave a presentation, and we talked about kind of a plan and a path forward for potentially getting a skate park built in Jackson County at one of our existing sports complexes. But we all decided that we wanted to just kind of take it slow, do an event there with some temporary ramps in the parking lot at the West Jackson County soccer complex. And so that's what we've been planning on. So we had another call with Tyler a couple weeks ago, and we kind of, had a lot of discussion about it. We landed on Saturday, March 29th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. is going to be the date of the event. We figured we'd hopefully get some good springtime weather, and that'll give us enough time to get everything planned and put in place for that. It's going to have a lot of stuff. Plan to have, food trucks there, some vendors. They're going to have some fundraising stuff that they're going to do, selling T-shirts and stuff like that. It's mainly all that'll be. A little bit of music there. They're gonna offer skate lessons to kids for free. Whoever wants to take a lesson can. They're also gonna have, like a small contest for people who are, more experienced can try to win a contest. And then just some giveaways for, free merchandise. So we're looking forward to it. DJ and I are gonna go visit have a similar facility in downtown Biloxi underneath the I-110 bridge. They've already got some ramps over there. We're gonna take a ride over there one day soon and just get some ideas for it, and then take those back to the soccer fields on Lemoyne Boulevard and see if we can, lay out how the event's gonna be, where we're gonna put the ramps and all that. So just kind of wanted to give y'all an update. That's when the date of the event is. Tyler did have a flyer made that he's put out on just social media, but I would hope that we could have our own county-sponsored press release maybe sometime later in February to help get the word out for the event as well. We're calling it the Push for Skate Parks is what the name of it is. So basically just wanted to give an update on that. While I've got y'all and we're talking about skate parks, this Saturday, February 8th in Pass Christian, they're gonna have a separate fundraiser just for the initiative, for the Gulf Coast in general, because there's several other cities and areas that are looking at building a skate park as well. And Tyler's association is just kind of helping out with everything. So this is going to be the Arts for Skate Parks. It's at the Cat Island Coffee House in Pass Christian. They're going to have a silent auction with some skate art themed art pieces, and then just some good food and music there as well. So I'm hoping to be able to go to it to help show some support for this initiative that we're trying to push forward. So, and then lastly, the other item, and it is a separate item on the agenda, but it's a letter of support. I was hoping that we would all agree would be worthwhile to send for a skate mentor program that they're trying to get some funding for, that would help them set up mentor programs at the different parks that are set up to, further give lessons and just, be a good role model for some of our youth in the community. So the letter is prepared, is on the agenda, and if y'all have any other questions about it, we'd be happy to answer. But those are just kind of all the updates that I wanted to pass along to y'all directly.
And just on some other feedback, I still get fairly often phone calls on if we're doing anything, especially from the St. Martin Ocean Springs side, and then actually Lumcumbus.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's a young man we busted out there. He was doing skating on, hitting the picnic tables, all that stuff. So we had to put some no skateboarding signs up, so we won't damage some stuff. But we gave us a thought though, some of these portable ramps and stuff that works out like we want. We may use the basketball court out there, maybe take a night or two a week, say, hey, we'll set it up when we leave, skating only, and then take it down the next morning so that we can move in and out in that part. But those are the two, it seems like about once a week, once every 2 weeks, I get a call or two. Want to know if there's any updates, any progress on it. So, talking like these events, just looking up stuff on the Facebook page, there'll be a lot of people out there. Be a pretty good turnout when we do this. So.
Now, who are these mentors, DJ?
It's going to be just people that are in the Gulf Coast Skate Parks Association. I don't know if they have them all nailed down yet because they're still building the program and trying to get funding for it. But they would go through some sort of a vetting process to make sure that they're, I'm sure they would do background checks on them and stuff like that. But it would just be, similar people like me or DJ or, anyone else who has, can skate and who wants to, volunteer.
Yeah, that's not DJ. By
yeah.
DJ don't skate. DJ
no, I'm not getting on skates.
No, but to me, it sounded like something that's kind of happening right now with the Gulf Coast Tennis Association. Jenny Cockrell, they're trying to do some things where they're having a little open events and stuff like that, just getting young kids out there to learn tennis, things like that. Kind of sounds like the same thing.
Yeah.
Through that organization, which they have to be certified through these organizations to be able to do it. So.
I don't have any problem signing a letter. If it's-
It would be in a group setting, basically, where you'd have, 5 or a dozen kids to, 1 or 2 mentors and, but yeah, we just teach them to skate and then a lot of other life lessons, while they have them.
Yeah.
Could you get us the vetting process that board uses so that we know that when we endorse it, that we know these folks are good folks?
Sure,
Okay.
yeah, of course.
Okay.
I will make the motion that we authorize this resolution. But I'd also like to say that Matthew and DJ, you two did a fabulous job on the State of the County video that we saw last week.
You did.
Very, very good.
Great, appreciate that. Hopefully next year we'll be talking about the great success of this skate park.
There you go, there you go.
Very good.
I'll second Mr. Taylor's motion.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
Hey, DJ, let me ask you a question for you, Lee. I forgot to ask you the other day. The property that we're looking at in Gulf Park Estates for a park, did you ever, oh, Matthew knows about that? All right. Did we get any updates?
You remember the Gulf Park Estate stuff we were looking at?
Yes, the ones near Lake Mars boat launch. But we've had a lot of other land deals that we've been sorting through too.
Okay.
I do have those still on my radar, and we'll get the work started on those very soon, and should at least have some preliminary indications on whether it's clean title and appraisals and that sort of thing within about a month.
Okay.
And I got a meeting today with the gentleman about the walking trail too, subdivision over there.
All right,
So
that's for the St. Andrews Park.
St. Andrews,
Yeah.
yes, sir.
Okay, great, thanks.
DJ, I tried to call you the other day, and I can talk to you after, but had a guy ask about tractor pulls and the ability to have one of those in this area if we have anything. And I didn't really think we had any areas.
I think they said at one time there was a monster truck rally in the arena and they were within like a foot of hitting the top of the roof. And, I think it's just, I don't think the arenas are big enough for any of that. So, need a more of an outdoor spot, so.
Tell him we appreciate him asking.
Yeah, thank you for that, bud.
Thank y'all. We appreciate it. All right, next up, we have Ms. Star Chapman from the Attorney General's office. Ms. Chapman, come on up.
Thank you. I was looking at the agenda and thought I'd go take a lunch break and be back this afternoon. You gentlemen make quick work of it, don't you? Thank you so much. On behalf of Attorney General Lynn Fitch and myself, I'd like to thank you for this time with you right now. I'm going to try to fly through this thing because I see you're busy. Here we go. All righty. So this is a prevention table talk, and there we go. So Lynn Fitch, think of her as this, law and order. She's your top cop and your top lawyer. She has over 30 years in governmental and private law experience and has a Bachelor of Business Administration and a Juris Doctorate from the University of Mississippi. So let's talk about this magnitude of the problem. Methods used to deceive and defraud seniors, artificial intelligence, steps to take if you've been scammed, and identity theft. How to protect your personal information, and hopefully if you have any questions, I'll have the answers. But I promise you this, if I don't, I'll find them. Magnitude of the problem. In the United States, 1 in 10 seniors falls victim to fraud. Over 88,000 over the age of 60. Over $3.1 billion in losses, and I've got a feeling that's a mild estimate. 84% increase in losses from 21. Over 5,000 victims lost over $100,000, and the average loss per victim is over $35,000. So why do scammers target seniors? They're available, they're lonely, they have prosperity, isolation, and illness. Never underestimate the resourcefulness of scammers. So we have the online romance scam, sweepstake charity scams, grandparent scam, government impersonation scam, identity theft, tech support, home repair, and now we have a large increase in veteran scams. So scammers pose as interested romantic partners through dating websites to capitalize on the senior victim's desire for companionship. They create fake online identities in order to gain the trust and affection. So how to avoid? And I would make this knowledge known to your kids and your grandkids. Be careful what you post and put online. That information will be used to target you. Research the person's photo and profile using online searches to see if the image, name, or details have been used elsewhere. And beware of individuals that seem too perfect. They ask you to leave the dating site. They're trying to communicate directly with you and isolate you from your families and your friends. They will ask you for inappropriate photos or financial information. So while we're talking about inappropriate photos, you've heard of sextortion. And this is being used against our teenagers. They go on these online sites, they think they've found somebody, they take some inappropriate photos of themselves, and then they send it to the scammer, who then comes back immediately and wants money, not to expose the photos. Our legislator passed the Montgomery Walker bill last year, which was the young man in Mississippi who took his life because the scammer said, you might as well go kill yourself because I'm gonna put these naked pictures of you online and your life will be worth nothing. And it is really serious. So the criminals who carry out romance scams are experts at what they do. They appear genuine, caring, and believable. So how to avoid it? Beware if the individual attempts to isolate you from your family and friends. Beware if the individual promises in person to meet you, but then always comes up with an excuse why they cannot. If you haven't met the person after a few months, for whatever reason, you have good reason to be suspicious. And never, ever send money to anyone you have only communicated with online or by phone. Scammers pretend to be heroes in faraway places. They can't send their pictures because they're undercover or they're in Afghan, Ukraine, or the Sudan. They always say they're in love very early on in the relationship and will ask to marry you or say you can share all your secrets and, of course, your money. Scammers ask for expensive gifts. They might ask you to accept a package of cash, gems, or gold and pay the fake shipping. That really goes in their pockets. Or they ask for new phones to replace broken ones or gift cards, or even, I need presents for my kids back home. If you say okay to one request, you will be hit again and again.
My father was single. He turned to the internet for, dating and met Mary Blake 123@yahoo.com.
I had people from Nigeria contact me to create fake accounts on dating sites like POF and create email accounts to match what they are, the kind of profile that they want to be on.
He started just corresponding with this person, and she essentially made him believe that she was abroad in England working on a project. She got to know my dad a little bit in his background. He used to do a lot of construction.
It's easy because these people are looking for someone to trust, and this kind of relationship could be short-term or long-term.
They kind of built this love relationship online over multiple years, and would continuously ask for money, and he would wire money. By the time I got involved, hundreds of thousands had already been taken. I think the impact was up to about 700,000 or more.
Last year alone, we had over 25,000 of these types of complaints. Victims at the end of a romance scam can feel manipulated. Families, relationships, marriages can be torn apart. And the toll that one of these scams can take is devastating.
That's the main goal, to get people's money. And these people will fall for it.
They're very good. They manipulate minds And they clearly know what they're doing, and they're intentional, and they, again, over $700,000 at least is what they stole from my father. He had nothing left to the point where he stopped taking care of himself.
The important thing is just to get the victim talking and just kind of evaluating that relationship, and then just using common sense. If this is someone I've never seen in person, never met in person, that all of a sudden is professing their undying love for me and wants to marry me and spend the rest of their life, and then is asking me for tens of thousands of dollars, that's certainly going to be a red flag.
Absolutely. So online dating scams. They make plans to visit you, but tell you they're delayed because of financial matters, a lost airline ticket, a visa, medical emergency, or a blocked account. They say you can send them some money and they can still come see you, but they never show up. Anyone who asks you to share your account numbers, send gift cards or wire transfers, or pay with payment apps or cryptocurrency, and gift cards is huge. That's the #1 way they scam you, is send them gift cards. Sweepstakes or lotteries. You receive a call, letter, email, or text saying you're the winner, but you're not. You'll be given various payment methods. Pay by credit card number, or can you imagine giving someone your bank account information? Yeah. Or pay with cash. Here we go again. Gift cards, wire transfer, or crypto. Remember, if you pay or share your information, the scammer will just keep coming back and requesting more and more money. So keep your money and your information to yourself. AI. The science of making machines think like humans. They can do things considered smart because they can amalgamate large amounts of data unlike humans. The goal of AI is to be able to do things such as recognize patterns, make decisions, and judge like humans. So the grandparent scam. Has anybody had or heard of the grandparent scam? Yeah, it's a biggie. They call or send text messages urging for money to be sent by wire immediately. The imposter offers up enough detail about where and how the emergency happened to make it seem plausible, and perhaps turns the phone over to another scammer who pretends to be a doctor, police officer, or lawyer to back up the story. To make the impersonation even more convincing, he or she will throw in a few family particulars, which they actually got from your grandchild's social media accounts. If someone you love called in a panicked voice asking for help, what would you do? AI is now making it possible to clone someone's voice and to use it to trick family and friends. Scammers are taking advantage of this technology to con panicked loved ones out of money. And AI is being used to devise more realistic romance scams and AI-generated videos known as deep fakes. Have you heard of naked.com and closeoff.com? You can take a picture of anyone from the internet, upload it to this website, have their clothes removed, and then use that photo any way you like. This is now a real revenge tactic amongst younger people. And it's not very pretty, is it?
The holidays are here, and the FBI is warning senior citizens to beware of scams. The number of people swindled is growing nationwide, and scammers are now using AI to trick people into handing over money. CBS 2's Jennifer McLogan explains.
They said grandpa, and then I realized it was a scam.
Richard and Lori McGee of Garden City were unnerved when artificial intelligence imposters targeted them purporting to be a grandson.
About what happened in Mexico and that he was stranded there with some friends and that he needed help and that he didn't want to go to his parents.
But the McGee's grandchildren are too young to be in Mexico. They live in Ireland and Georgia, so they never fell for the AI scammer.
I can see how a lot of people would fall for this, especially if they do have your actual voice of your grandchild.
Now they're going into social media posts, whether it be Facebook, TikTok, wherever you can post a video of yourself. They get that voice, even when you hear that person that you think is granddaughter, family member, take that breath. think about what you're going to do next.
By year's end, imposter scam losses could top a record $2.7 billion, which federal officials say have become among the most common and lucrative fraud methods nationwide. Recently here, an 85-year-old handed over $19,000 in cash, a 70-year-old $100,000, a 78-year-old $25,000. The 85-year-old spoke by phone with investigative reporter Tim McNicholas.
It's unbelievable how they could do something like this and sound so real. They catch you emotionally. You don't even think. A lot of old people like myself in this situation would pay up.
Bernard Macias of the AARP.
Hang up, call your son and daughter, call your grandchild, have that conversation with them. Don't keep this as a secret. This is a scam.
Especially seniors, be cautious, sharp, and alert to these type of calls or emails where there is trickery.
The FBI warns to expect an uptick over the holidays. On Long Island, Jennifer McLogan, CBS 2 News.
It is so frightening, especially for grandparents, right?
It really is.
But good advice there, right?
Yes, definitely.
Call
And
your kids right away.
Protect, right.
Yes, absolutely.
Voice cloning technology is becoming increasingly sophisticated due to the improving text-to-speech AI. It offers hope for people that have had medical issues and lost their voice, but it also creates significant risk and threatens creative professionals, such as voice artists, can have their voices appropriated in ways that may threaten their livelihoods and deceive the public. If you suspect a voice clone scam, try to interrupt the caller and ask a question. Ask a question that only that person would know. Another way is establish a family password. I'm married to Chappie, and we're going to change our password now because it used to be Redfish. So don't send money through untraceable means like gift cards or crypto, and report anything to reportfraud.ftc.gov. So government impersonation scams. I'm going to make this one really brief. Social Security is never going to go online and contact you via text, okay? They're not going to do that. They're going to send you something in the mail. Real news headlines and federal agency information are used with a twist to convince seniors and scammers the scam is legit. And they'll use these three things: worry, fear, and love. That's what triggers all of these emotions to perpetrate the fraud. So to prevent identity theft, don't carry your Social Security card. Never say your number out loud. Beware of phishing scams, emails, internet leaks, and phone calls trying to trick you into revealing your information. And create my Social Security account to keep track of your records and identity. Consider adding these blocks to your Social Security. There's an e-service block and a direct deposit fraud prevention block. Once you put the block on, you cannot remove it until you go to your local office, but it will be there and it does work. This is a great screenshot. Okay, she's just going to take a quick picture of some phone numbers and websites in case you want to report fraud. You're welcome. Medical identity theft. A lot of times seniors do not even read their medical benefits, and it's very important that we do, because if your benefits have been maxed out by fraudulent claims or devices, when you need those benefits, they won't be available to you. Scammers will pose as technology support representatives. You know that pop-up box, your antivirus is expired or whatever. Don't click on any links that come up. Claims of virus or other malware is showing on your computer. Hang up. Ignore phone numbers and links. Do not click on links. Do not wire money or deposit in crypto, ATM, gift cards, or send money in any way. Fraud avoidance. The VA will never threaten you with jail or lawsuit. The VA will never charge you for processing claims. The VA will never ask for your personal information via email. Be cautious of telephone numbers on your caller ID. Scammers change phone numbers, which is called spoofing, to make a call appear to come from a different person or place like the VA. And victims of fraud can report suspected fraud, waste, and abuse via the program Integrity Fraud. Home repair and contractors, we see this a lot because of hurricane damage and storm damage. Someone knocks on your door, calls you, says they can fix your leaky roof, install new windows, or provide the latest energy-efficient solar panels. The pressure to act quickly is there and might ask you to pay in cash or offer to get you financed. Don't do it. Home repair scammers might direct you to pay by sending money through MoneyGrams or Western Union. Paying contractors using these methods is like sending cash. It's never reversible and cannot be traced. Steps to take if you've been scammed. Gift cards, contact the company that's issued, ask for a refund. Keep the card and receipts for proof of purchase. Your credit or debit cards. Contact the credit card company or bank to report fraud. Ask for the transaction to be reversed and for a refund. And if you should use Venmo or PayPal or any of those cash apps, do not ever link it to your debit or bank account. Okay, that's like cash. If it's a credit card, you can always challenge it and ask for your money back. But if it comes out of your debit account, it's gone. You're not going to get that back. So money apps or bank wire transfers report as fraudulent with money transfer companies. Request the transaction be reversed and a refund be given. And you can do a credit freeze in all 3 credit bureaus. Don't carry your Social Security card in your wallet. Secure it safely at home. Never give your personal information out over the phone or loudly in public. Regularly check your financial accounts for suspicious activities and request a free credit report from each of the 3 bureaus yearly. Shred any piece of paper containing personal information, your name, your birth date, your Social Security number. You can also block it out with a stamper. So you can contact us via these social media handles, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and our website. And thank you for this time. Do we have any questions?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Actually, a question and a comment. On my credit cards, I have just about every alert you can have set up, gas stations, anything done over the phone. Why can't you do that for a debit card? If my credit card's used over the phone for $10, I'll get an alert immediately.
Right.
If it's used at the gas station, I'll get an alert immediately. If I spend more than $100 on anything, I'll get an alert immediately. But I don't know if you know, you can't have any of those alerts on a debit card that I know of.
That's interesting. Have you talked to your bank?
I did, and they gave me an explanation, but I didn't understand it.
Well, thank you, and I'll bring that to the AG's office. That's a good point. You should be able to have alerts and protection on all of your accounts, whether they're credit or a debit card. That's even easier to access because it's cash. It's already there.
And let me mention one more thing.
Yes, sir.
Along the same lines. There's a lot of information here, but you get these letters relatively regularly that your information may have been compromised because whether it's a medical facility or a business or what have you, and we're going to give you a free year of Experian or what have you. So I decided to sign up 6 months ago. I can't remember what letter I got. I find that to be nothing more than a sales pitch. I get emails every day from Experian, and I quit looking at it. From a law enforcement standpoint, I don't know why they send those, if that's required by some law that I don't know about.
You might be approved for another credit card.
Yeah, I mean, so I just quit. I've stopped. I blocked it. It's worthless. I found it to be totally worthless.
I think it's a method to use your information to peddle some of their other products.
But
I think it should not be legal, but they could do it.
Well, something you may want to speak with the AG
Yes, sir.
about. I mean, I think that's a scam. After you get scammed.
I do too.
There's something that, you always are careful for credit cards and debit cards, but, and we don't really hardly use checks anymore. I write like 1 check a year, and it's usually the property tax or something like that, so I know where it's going. But a check has your routing number and your account number, and all someone needs is those 2 numbers, and they can use your account for anything they want.
Exactly.
And it's on every check. Has anyone ever looked at seeing, is there a way to take that off and make it a barcode or something so
That's
that
a great
people
idea.
can't just write the numbers down and steal it? Because all they've got to do is know when you mail a check out, take it out the mailbox and they have your account information.
That's a fabulous idea. I'm going to take all of these back to Jackson.
Yeah, along with what Mr. Ross said, I mean, I've always wondered that because checks are flying around. If I owe you $100, I write you a $100 check. You're going to have my routing number and my bank account number.
Right, and your address.
Those are flying around on a daily
Maybe
basis.
a phone number.
Sometimes the phone number too, right? Talk about your personal information being exposed, huh? Well, gentlemen, thank you so much and have a blessed day.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Alrighty.
Brings us down to action items.
Just a couple quick updates. Email to you over the weekend with Manning's update on there, but I wanted to remind you the first committee deadlines are this week in Jackson, so a lot of the bills that we've been tracking will either come out of committee or they won't, and typically a lot of them don't. And so when we find out the ones that do come out of committee that we're tracking, we'll kind of regroup and see if there's some things that we want to provide comments on there. Also, the MAS conference is in Jackson this week. I know some of you are planning to go to that. On the federal issues, last week you may have heard that the White House issued a temporary pause on federal projects, federal grant-funded projects. That was subsequently lifted after a couple days. But we do have over 20 federal grant projects that are active now, and so we'll continue to watch that and see how it goes. We don't anticipate them pausing or stopping any of our projects because we don't think they're in conflict with the executive orders that were issued by the president. But there are some bills that that they don't seem to like, including the Inflation Reduction Act, and that bill had a couple of our projects funded through that bill. So we'll continue to watch that and see what happens. But as of right now, everything's still on go and still moving forward. So.
That it, Brian?
That's it.
Thank you, sir. All right, let me turn the page. That brings us over to supervisor items. The first thing we have is a resolution terminating proclamation of existence of a local emergency, which was declared on January 20th, 2025. I have a motion by Mr. Beausarge and a second by Mr. Taylor. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. All right, the next is a resolution approving the form of and authorizing the execution and delivery of a development and reimbursement agreement between said county and Pine Belt Capital LLC in connection with an apartment home community within said county and tax increment financing bonds to be issued by said county. From time to time, in a aggregate principal account not to exceed $750,000 for the purpose of financing the cost of installing and constructing certain infrastructure improvements necessary for said development and for related purposes. That was a mouthful.
Second.
Have a motion by Mr. Beausarge, a second by Mr. Ross. All those in favor say aye. Aye. And opposed, no. All right, C is a resolution authorizing the employment of certain professionals in connection with the sale and issuance of tax increment financing bonds of said county to raise money for the purpose of providing funds for certain infrastructure improvements relating to a project for Pine Belt Capital LLC for related purposes.
So moved.
That you?
Yeah.
Okay. Got a motion by Mr. Beausarge? Go ahead. A second by Mr. Ross. All those in favor say aye. Aye. And opposed, no. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and mention one thing here I was going to bring up a while ago. It's been brought to my attention on one of these that South Mississippi Planning and Development District may be interested in helping us with some of these bonds. And I wanted to bring that up because it had been mentioned to me, and didn't know if the board may be interested in looking at another direction, or if we wanted to stay with what we're doing here.
Yeah, and I've talked to folks about it too, and this one's been in progress for several years, and I know that we've got a big project in Bass Pro and things that are going on that are kind of underway. And I thought about, should we entertain it for this one, or should we stick with where we are? And to me, it seems like with a big development like that, we need to stick where we are. But when we have the next issue, we need to meet with them and talk to them and see if there's any kind of options we can do there that may be better. Mm-hmm. And I think we owe it to them, and I think we owe it to the taxpayers to make sure we do get a better deal if it's possible. But the folks that we have right now have done a good job over the years, and I've had no dissatisfaction with them. But I do think we should open it up and see what's out there.
And I think you're right. I think, this has been in the works for a good while, and we don't want to do anything that may slow up that process.
Slow it down.
No, with something like a Bass Pro, I wouldn't want to jeopardize it or cause them to get any hiccups.
Okay, sounds good. Y'all good, Mr. Morris, Mr. Taylor? Okay. All right, I'll read this one. The next one is a resolution approving the form of and authorizing the execution and delivery of a development and reimbursement agreement between said county and Lemoyne Landing Development, LLC, successors and assigns, providing for the issuance of tax increment financing bonds by said county from time to time in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $35 million for the purpose of financing the cost of acquiring, installing, and constructing certain infrastructure improvements necessary in connection with the master plan retail mixed-use development within said county and for related purposes. All right. Got a motion by Mr. Beausarge, and I'll second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. And we have one more. Is a resolution authorizing the employment of certain professionals in connection with the sale and issuance of tax increment financing bonds of said county to raise money for the purpose of providing funds for certain infrastructure improvements relating to a project for Lemoyne Landing Development, LLC, and for related purposes. And I'll second that one. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Thank y'all.
Thank y'all. Yep.
All right. Brings us down to supervisor items. I have two items here. First one is a resolution appointing David Gunn to the Helena Park Estates Lighting District, and I'll make that a motion. A second by Mr. Taylor. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The second one I have is a resolution appointing Paul Wilson to the Jackson County Airport Authority Commission, and I will make that motion.
I second it.
I have a second by Mr. Morris. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Mr. Morris, I believe you have something?
Yes, I have a resolution appointing Mr. James Smith to the Singer River Health System Board of Trustees, and I'll make that motion.
All right, I'll second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Mr. Taylor, you didn't have anything, did you?
Just a comment. Earl's new deputy is reporting within a week or so, and we're going to be kicking off some discussions on the local weather shelter task force that we've had a couple of emails about, and address these cold weather issues that we're having.
Okay.
So glad to have a new employee on board, and we'll get her done.
Sounds good. Mr. Ross, you didn't have anything?
No, I don't.
Mr. Beaustars, you have one, don't you?
Yes, sir. All right. So we have an issue with Great River Utility that they purchased the old utility systems, water and sewer system, which is a private system, last year about this time. And I can just tell you, in this past year, it's gone from crap to worse crap. All right. right, so, Great, and I'm gonna say it, and I don't care if Great River does whatever they wanna do, maybe it'll get their attention, I don't know, but I'm about over talking to them, I'm over dealing with them. So my issue today is not only the poor service, the water quality is sorry, the pressure's sorry, their response is sorry, and it's inadequate, and I could go on and I'm trying to be nice here because I really, really want their attention. So that being said, my main issue today, and we'll go into executive session because it's probably going to require some legal action, but my main issue today is Joe, with our road department. We've got multiple streets down there that they've cut, dug up, replaced, whatever, and they have not patched them back. And some of these patches are over 6 months old that need to be patched back with asphalt, not just crushed limestone or whatever. But now the ones that are over 6 months old are now deteriorating our roads, mainly in Gulf Park Estates and over in Ocean Beach Estates. So when we go into executive session, my main action is going to be I want to figure out a way to sue them. And Jimmy's been working on it. Hopefully he'll have some more thought for us. But they are a private utility. It's hard for us to do anything because the Public Service Commission has the jurisdiction over them. We don't. So my goal here today is to, I gave it a year. It's not working. They have no local representation in our county. Utility Services had an office, they had workers, they had everything located in Gulf Park Estates. They were Johnny on the spot when you called them. They took care of things, immediately. This company here works through multiple different subcontractors. They're not even located here. It's a call center in Indiana or Illinois or California, wherever that call, that 800 call goes into is where you get an answer from. Those people are not from here. They don't know this area. So therefore they treat you like you're just another caller. I know some people in here's called them. I've called them multiple times. I am one of their customers. And I'm along with my constituents in that area. I know Marcus gets phone calls on them about their services, and when maybe this is something our Attorney General's office can help us out with. I don't know, but I'm glad she's here today to listen to this. But and we're not the only county. There is other counties in this state that got the same company purchased the local water and sewer systems from their privately held folks. So therefore, my goal today is to get it out in the open and try to find some kind of solution. And I'd like for this board to really keep an open mind on doing everything we can do legally to serve our citizens. I mean, this is our citizens we're talking about. There's like probably 6,000 to 7,000 customers on this water and sewer system, and it's just not fair. So we need to figure out a way that we can get on this and get their attention, or maybe even eminent domain them and take them over. I don't know, but I'm willing to do whatever it takes to legally to do something about this situation. So.
Okay. Idea, Randy?
Yep, that's it.
All right, thank you, sir.
Let me ask,
Give
if
us
I could just ask if we
quick
could.
reaction.
Well, right, I have talked to Randy about it, and if we could have maybe Joe or Marcus, especially Joe, Marcus, if you have some information, join us in executive session so we can discuss the issues. But my thoughts are that while we may not regulate them or control them, if they are number one, damaging any of our assets, roads or what have you, then that gets into our purview, and I think we can take action against them. But we'll discuss that in executive session. On the service side of it, I guess that's a public utilities issue to be taken care of. But when they start getting into our assets, then I think we can do something about that.
And another major concern I have is we're fixing to start the Beachview widening project, hopefully later on this week. And there's gonna be water and sewer issues, and their point guy that was on top of this for utility, for Great River, is now left them. He doesn't work for them anymore, so we do not have a point of contact with them anymore. And I'm not gonna let this project be delayed because of this utility. I will not do it. I'll figure out a way to do it, and, but I'm tired of the delays. I'm tired of the mismanagement of that company, and they're a big company. They're all over the United States, and I guarantee you could call any other government agency, and they're having the same problems we are. So, I want to take a stance on this. So.
All right, thank you, Randy. That brings us down to closed session. To see if there's sufficient evidence to stay in executive.
Go into closed session. There's a motion by Mr.
Beaucharge.
Second.
Second by Mr. Morris. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
Hey, Joe, you want to hang around?